Well, hello, I'm glad you joined me. I hope you got your chair or either you got your earphones plugged in, listening to some of these momentum, these tips about being a great entrepreneur or being a great leader or just being a great employee of all kinds, with being consistent, scheduling yourself so you can keep things organized and in order. And for sakes, I preach a lot of this stuff and I struggle sometimes to keep things in order too as well. And so that's why I am on this journey trying to help you help me too as well. So I thank you all for just taking time out to join me. For all you that do not know me, my name is Kirkland. My business is Stewart Snacks, and I sell snacks. And what I do is allow momentums to be in our lives, and I need them in my lives. And so I thought I would share these momentums, and my show is Daily Momentum, which I try to keep a momentum each and every day because we struggle with the battle of the mind, battle of being scheduling, taking notes, and also being consistent. So some of the things that I would like to put in, I know we have been struggling as being an entrepreneur or being a leader in our fields of just trying to get things moving and keep it moving and keep it at a pace and speeding up the pace. So today I want to talk about it's about being an entrepreneur, being a leader. And so what I wanted to talk about is some of the things about what is the hardest thing about being an entrepreneur. I get questions a lot of times say, what is the hardest thing? What is the good things? And I talk about a lot of the good things about being an entrepreneur, but this is not a bad thing. This is just a struggle when you're trying to be consistent in being an entrepreneur or just being a leader or being all in all is just trying to keep things being consistent. So I actually have 8 tips I want to give you. And man, I'm telling you, these things I would take down and write it down or just pause it and go run and get you a pen and pencil, or either you can just rewind it after you listen to it play first and then play it over again. So if you all have time, take time to subscribe so you'll know all the videos that I am putting into you, or is giving you nice tips and tricks to help you along the way to keep that momentum going. If you can like or subscribe to my channel. So thank you. My channel is Daily Momentum. 8 tips. The first tip is finding the right niche. I had a struggle with that, trying to figure out what I'm good at, what I like doing. A niche is being an entrepreneur, or either I have been on jobs and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So I just pretty much just did everything, then seen how good I was on certain things. So I found out is being into the retail business, I had great customer service. I knew how to talk to people one-on-one. I knew how to be a great leader, a good role model in front of people, handling situations, not all the time knowing had to run and go look for the manager or the boss all the time. I knew how to be under fire and handle situations and take care of them. And so a lot of times I had to figure out my niche at the same time. And so I said, as growing up as a kid, I wanted to be a business person. So in doing all of that, I just kind of touched bases with different things. You know, I did cutting grass, I did lawn service, I did maintenance, I did construction, I did all them things. And then I switched over to retail, which I did like, first I started into vending before I branched into retail. Found that ideal actually when I was had a part-time job delivering pizzas. And so we come up with that vending thing. If you go to some of my videos, you can find out about that story. And then I went into vending, and then I went and got a part-time job. I started from the bottom and worked myself up. I was a janitor, custodian janitor, cleaning up behind everybody, and then realized that I knew how to deal with customers. And then I learned how to upsell to customers. And then I figured out that, hey, this is a great idea. This is a great thing. I think I like this niche. And so I grew into it to understand some of the retail business. And then I wanted to be a part of that. So I begin to form myself, and you all have to find a niche that you enjoy or like, and I can get a little bit more detail on that, but just stay tuned to that next video. So number 2 is lack of fundings. That is our struggle, being an entrepreneur, which the topic, if you just tune in, what is the hardest thing about being an entrepreneur? So that is one of the hardest things, is trying to find your niche. The lack of fundings is 2, because you have to figure it out. And getting into details a little bit, some of the videos I talked about the lack of fundings and how the struggle it was to be able to get into being an entrepreneur. A lot of times we feel like that we need all this money, but we need to start a little bit. And I started with a part-time job and a full-time job, and then did my side hustle of what I want to do part-time until I branched off. But it's still always going to be a struggle, because in what the thing I mean is funding, and you consistently need to buy inventory to make more money on the profits that you need. So you need to buy inventory. So that's going to be a struggle. And hiring and managing employees or a contractor, you got to pay someone if you want to grow. So that is a struggle too. And the hardest thing about being an entrepreneur, because you need to add people in if you want to grow. So if you want to stay that same size, then you can actually just work it by yourself and figure out ways to make yourself grow, which right now is a hard time to try to find people that want to work, because a lot of people are not willing to work. So that was number 3, hiring and managing employees. Time management, trying to fit all these things in. You managing your time. You got to be here, but you need to be here. You need that. That is one of the hardest things as being an entrepreneur, because especially when you're trying to grow. Also, marketing, sales, because you're trying to be able to let people know who you are. I started off just passing out cards. I also pass out samples, getting people to know me, getting on Facebook, just letting people know what I do consistently. I'm telling you, for where I am, it took years. I've been doing it for years and years, and still not even half the people know who I am or my business. So it's a consistent thing of marketing, and it's really hard. It's really hard, and sometimes you can get discouraged because you figure like the sales not coming in quickly, fast as you want, but you got to be consistent. Also is competition. When somebody's in that market of selling what you're selling, and you got to compete. I found out one way to beat competition is being consistent. Being consistent. I learned that from all the people who did. They used to beat me, and I was wondering why they taking my space, why they getting their sales more, because of being consistent. And so you have to be consistent with competition in order to be side with them or beat them, because a lot of times you can't beat them because their business is bigger. By me being an independent operator and they're working for a company, they're going to be consistent, because they're going to send someone out each and every day if that person decides to take a vacation or anything, excuse me. So another one is adjusting to change. Sometimes you have to figure out, you got holidays coming, you have to adjust to changes. Sometimes things may not sell well, you're going to have to take it out even though you like it. That's adjusting to change. And the customer's going to let you know that they don't like that stuff, and so they're going to I had a vending machines service one time, and I would put some of the healthy snacks in, and I actually had customers tell me, we don't want none of that in there. And so I had to take that out and lost money on that, trying to be able to force these things on them. If they consistently telling you these things, that's pretty much what they don't want. So managing finance, that was some of the things I talk about. The lack of fundings, you got to be able to manage these things. You can't go and just take money out and go spend and go buy you a car, buy these different things. You got to learn how to manage these and work on these things. That's just one of the things that we, as my business, we are working on consistently, turning and tweaking different expenses. You have to stop using these things, cutting off these things to keep afloat in your business, because you're dealing with inventory. You kind of look and you see inventory behind me, but there's inventory all over this, and I'm in the back of my truck because I enjoy making videos, and I think that you all like me being in the work truck, being in the making these videos. So manage your finance. And if you want to know a little bit more details about these 8 tips about what is the hardest things about being an entrepreneur, hey, write down in the comments that you want to know more. Just put in there 8 tips, need more in the comments, and I will give you a little bit, break things down, and you let me know what you want to talk about these 8 tips and what's the hardest. And I go through all these things each and every time, but I always take down notes to try to consistently working on my niche. Every time I'm working on me, I'm educating myself. I'm doing all these things so I can be able to be better than the competition. I'm being able to work on my finance. I'm doing all these things because it's hard. You have to do these things each and every day. Dealing with contractors and employees. People just want to work for one day and not work. And there's some good people out there. Just got to find the right one. And so also marketing, trying to get people to know you. These are all the things that I talked about today that we need to work on as being entrepreneurs, as being leaders too, as well as having a group. And we think that once you get this group of people and you get all these things, that everybody's going to show up and everybody's going to do what they need to do. A lot of times they don't. You have to be consistent. If you got 2 or 3 people with you or one person with you, you have to be consistent. And the word will get around. People will get to know you. You need to get people to know who you are, what information that is good for them, that is improving them. So I'm giving this information, and you just got to be patience. And I'm being patient. Is some of the things that I'm telling you, a lot of people's not going to take ownership of these things. They're not going to do it, but I'm here to be in the long and playing the long game. It's giving you this information because it took me a long time to get it, and I'm going to stand with you. So thank you all for just joining me. Thank you for coming to my show, Daily Momentum. My name is Kirkland, that if you did not know. So just join me. I'm going to continue bringing these videos to you, talking about different things. So thank you all for joining me. You all have a wonderful day. And remember, keep pumping, keep pumping, keep pumping.